All right, good evening. Welcome to the January 28th regular board meeting for the Wenatchee School District. We will open with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Esto junto se lleva a cabo en inglés, pero contamos con servicio de traducción. Si alguien gusta hacer un comentario público o recibir explicaciones en español, por favor, indique su necesidad. We're now going to work through the agenda. Board, are there any proposed changes or modifications to the agenda? All right, hearing none, I will now move on to the consent agenda. The items on the consent agenda were sent to the board and posted online last week. The board has had the opportunity to review the materials and ask the superintendent for any questions they have had about any items on the consent agenda. The consent agenda for this meeting includes the minutes for the 1/14/25 regular board meeting, vouchers and payroll, personnel report, surplus report, contracts, field trips, November financials report, and January enrollment report. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
All right, it has been moved by Martin and seconded by Julie. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of adopting the consent agenda as presented, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We will now move on to the citizen comment period. If any member of the public would like to make a citizen comment, please sign up online 15 minutes before the meeting or complete a citizen comment form. Forms are available at the room's entrance and should be turned in to Board Secretary Kim White. Unless translation is required, each comment is limited to 3 minutes. Ms. White will keep a timer that will notify you when your time expires. Individuals that need translation or interpretation will be given 4 minutes to make a comment, plus the time needed to complete translation. Please be aware that the board's role is to receive comments. They will not respond to questions or challenges, and the board silence does not signal agreement or endorsement of the speaker's remarks. Kim, we have comments?
Yes, we do. First is Dorothy Ferguson.
Hello. Okay. I'm Dorothy Ferguson. I'm a grandmother of 2 students who attend Wenatchee School District. I support our teachers and students, so I support the levy. However, I do not support the school board's decision to evict 335 Columbia students from their school to install a program that currently has 187 students, in-person students. I hope the school board will be transparent with the results of the Office of Civil Rights investigation about closing Columbia Elementary. Also, we haven't heard any follow-up to the September report by the superintendent that there was an unexpected increase in student behaviors referrals for students impacted by the closure of Columbia. I'm surprised that this increase in student behavior was unexpected to the school district. Parents, students, teachers, and community members communicated to the school board and superintendent that their actions were causing trauma to the students and families. I hope these students were not disciplined for their reactions to this trauma. Next fall, as Columbia students are walking past Columbia to catch their bus to a school outside their neighborhood, they will see other students at their school playing on their playground. Columbia's parents need the board's help in answering their students' question. Mom, Dad, how come I can't go to Columbia and those students can? Also, regarding a recent policy change on graduation requirements, I would like to know, and parents would like to know, and students, when and how will the school district advise this year's 9th and 10th grade students and parents that sitting for the SBA, the state SBA tests, is not a graduation requirement for them, according to the Washington State Board of Education? That policy was in violation of state law. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Lois Ferguson.
I support students, teachers, and school staff. Therefore, I support the levy. In his speech justifying the closure of Columbia Elementary, Tucker Jackson spoke of the need for the school board to earn back the public's trust. I completely agree, but I don't see this happening. There's been no reduction of district cabinet staffing, as has occurred in other districts with school closures. There's been talk of pay raises at the district office, while staffing has been cut at the school level. How will the remodel of the Columbia Elementary building for a school of 187 students as of December 2024 be paid for? Why are you now looking for community partners for the remaining space in the remodeled Columbia Elementary building when you wouldn't do it for the Columbia Elementary School itself? What are the school district plans for facilitating outreach to Columbia Elementary families to enable them to utilize their new neighborhood school, Valley Academy?
Thank you.
Roxana Venata.
Good evening. So I came here to talk about Plyler versus Doe, and this is an important federal statute that protects students who are undocumented. Just based off what the community's been saying on various social media about students not having rights, I think it's strange that the community thinks that. But I like to hopefully help a few community members with why it's appropriate for undocumented students to attend Wenatchee School District. Plyler versus Doe is a 1982 landmark U.S. Supreme Court decision that guaranteed that all children, regardless of immigration status, the right to a free public education. The case involved a Texas law that denied public school enrollment to children who were not legally admitted into the United States. The court ruled 5-4 that this law violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. The ruling emphasized that education is a fundamental right essential for the future of children, and that denying education to undocumented children would harm not just the individuals, but society as a whole. The court recognized that without education, these children would be severely limited in their opportunities for success, perpetuating cycles of poverty and social inequality. The decision in Plyler versus Doe reinforced the idea that all children, regardless of their immigration status, deserve access to education in order to lead productive and meaningful lives. This case continues to shape debates on education, immigration, and civil rights today. Plyler versus Doe turned 40 2 years ago, and it was recognized as a federal statute 1996. I might be off by a little bit, but close enough. I also want to bounce off Dorothy's comment that I'm not sure that I'm ready. It was a different topic. I'm not sure I'm ready how to address how students are going to be walking to Columbia and my child can't. It's going to be a hard topic to answer there. I think that's my 1-minute marker. I just also wanted to remind the community members that it is a biennial for funding public education and that we need voices, not only with funding the levy, but also with making sure that we are being funded as it is supposed to be statewide. Given that, I think that that's it for tonight.
Thank you. All right, sounds like that's all of our public comments for today. Turn it over to Corey for special presentations.
Okay, so tonight, we have been highlighting our levy-funded activities and positions in preparation for the upcoming levy 2 weeks from tonight, February 11th. And our school resource officers were unable to join us this evening, so they created a video at the video production studio at Wenatchee High School. So we would love to show that and to share that this evening. Thanks, Eric.
Hi, I'm Officer Fuller.
And I'm Officer Barajas.
We're both school resource officers for the Wenatchee School District. With the levy vote coming up on February 11th, we want to take a few moments and talk about how the levy supports safety and security in the Wenatchee School District by giving you an update on our work in the schools and with our students.
We both believe that SRO is a very important position within the school as we build positive relationships with students, staff, and parents. We want to highlight some of the recent events that we participated in. At the beginning of the school year, we helped with Safe Routes to School, which was ensuring kids were able to get to school safely with added crosswalks along busy roads. In November, we did our first Stuff the Bus food drive, which benefited Operation Turkey Drop, which helped provide food to 100 families throughout the Wenatchee School District.
In December, we hosted Shop with Cops, which is an event where elementary students are selected to shop with officers from around the valley. Last summer, we also hosted our first Youth Academy in partnership with the Tech Center, but we plan to hold a Youth Academy again this summer. In addition to these events, we also work sporting events, attend dances, and spend time going to lunches and recesses at schools. The goal with that is to build positive relationships with the students.
Officer Full and I have both adopted our open door policies within our schools. We encourage students to interact with us and be willing to report any issues they're dealing with. Oftentimes, these are relationship issues, conflicts with friends or family, and academic issues. Although these are not always law enforcement matters, we maintain an open mind and are always willing to listen. We provide support, resources, and guidance when asked.
Throughout the school year, we do in-class presentations on topics such as drugs, gangs, and law enforcement functions, along with other topics. These presentations are done for students, teachers, and parents. These sort of presentations provide credibility to the officers and build trust among students.
Regarding the levy, safety and security are levy-funded positions and essential for maintaining a healthy and safe learning environment where students thrive. The state only funds one safety and security staff member for a district of our size, 6,800 people in 14 buildings. The levy funds allow for the district to add 4 more positions. This includes both of us along with school security staff.
Wenatchee Police Department and the Wenatchee School District have been partners for many years and have been able to provide school resource officers to be in the schools. School safety must not be taken for granted. Remember to vote on February 11th. Every vote counts. Thank you.
Well, it turned out pretty good. I want a huge shout out and a thank you to Officer Fuller and Officer Barajas for their time and energy to do that. So we appreciate that. We also have some music students in the room. So since September, we've been utilizing our board meetings to showcase some of the awesome programs that our levy helps fund and create the student experience in the Wenatchee School District. So tonight we have, I think, is it 3 or 4 music students? 4. We have 4 music students with us tonight. So if you wouldn't mind coming up and maybe you all come up together and it's solidarity, you've got this. And then if you want to, one by one, just make sure to please introduce yourself and then tell us whatever you'd like to share about your experience in music. So thank you. Jump on up there. Rock, paper, scissors. No.
Hello, my name is Nene Van Winkle, and I'm a senior in the marching band, jazz ensemble, and percussion ensemble at Wenatchee High School. Music during my time in Wenatchee has been a vital piece in my learning and life. It's provided me with a perfect artistic outlet to counter my stressful workload, especially in high school. Not only that, but music really gave me a place to belong. I met countless of new people to interact with, upperclassmen that cared about my well-being, and countless of teammates to push me to be my best. And it's really hard to find a place in the world where like-minded people are trying to achieve a similar goal and when they come together. But through sharing music with one another in our classes and events, we're all sharing a piece of ourselves, in essence, with each other. And I believe there's no better way to connect people than through music. I've made my best friends through this program, and I've made many important memories. And now through my time in this music program, I've finally realized that in my future and in my college pursuits, I want to continue music. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carissa Lundberg. I'm a junior at Wenatchee High School, as well as a Running Start student. I'm a varsity athlete, a 2-year member of the chamber choir and vocal jazz ensemble, and I am also the head soundboard operator for the Wenatchee Theater Department. And For the past 2 years, we have been able to travel. I've traveled to Scotland and to California with the chamber orchestra and choir, and this year we are planning on going to New Orleans. And throughout all my time in choir, I have learned countless lessons and I've gained so many friends and learned many experiences. And I have learned about so much of myself through music, and the teachers in the music department have helped me grow into the person who I am now. And I don't know where I would be without the music programs at the high school. I have sang songs that are about the triumphs of the Battle of Jericho to songs rooted in the sorrows of slavery. And I don't think that there's anything more powerful in my life than music. And I really, really want to keep this in my life. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Luisana Esquivel, and I am also a junior at Wenatchee High School. And I have the great privilege of being a part of our music program. But more specifically, I am a member of Mariachi Wenatchee, where I play harp. I've been in the music program since 6th grade. I started off playing guitar and eventually moved my way up to harp. And music has always been a big part of my life. Mariachi music has been a big part of my culture. I remember being in elementary school, and going to all like these public events and seeing Mariachi Wenatchee playing, and I would look up to them and be like, I want to be there one day. I want to be like them. So they were just like a source of inspiration to me. I would see them all like in their uniforms, and they all look so pretty and professional, and they're all put together, and they just were some sort of inspiration to me and my friends, and I am now in that group with some of my friends, so that has been like a full circle moment for me. Um, Now that I have the opportunity to be in that group, I know the importance of being that role model for students as well, students younger than me. We have had many events that we've played at across Washington State, and being able to share our passion for music to everyone has really been inspiring as well. And knowing that we are in that position where we younger students look up to us have also given us like a sense of belonging and a sense of um just being proud of ourselves and knowing that we have made it this far. I have learned many skills being in a music program, specifically mariachi, which is like, it's different than every other music because we don't really typically play with music in front of us or anything. We have to all memorize it. So we really rely on each other. So we've built like that sense of family there and trust. We trust each other and knowing that we are all going to play our parts correctly. I have developed friendships that I know will be lifelong lasting, and I'm so excited to see where my members, the members go further from here. I have the ability to also be in it with my younger sister, so just being able to share that with her has also been like fun, being able to take your little sister with you and also know that you kind of serve as an inspiration to her as well. If music programs and music in general was taken away from our school district, it would also take away the safe space that many students have to let their creativity grow. Kids look forward to see their friends and share a space to have fun. I know this personally to be true, and it would really be a shame to see this all go away. So don't forget to vote on February 11th. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alexa Dickman. I'm a senior at Wenatchee High School, and I'm a part of the jazz ensemble and the wind ensemble, and I'm the drum major of the GA band. And I just want to say that music is my life. It's my soul. The people in this music program have taught me so many lessons about who I am. And I used to be, when I was a freshman, I was super shy and I had a lot of anxieties. And now the person I am, I became the drum major and a section leader, and it taught me so much leadership skills, and it taught me how to have fun and loosen up a little bit. And the friends that I made in this program, I'll hopefully keep for the rest of my life, and they'll come to my wedding. I care so much about these kids. I love them all, and the things I've learned about leadership and teaching has taught me that I want to continue music in my life and in college and inspire other kids so that they can feel less anxiety and less stressed and learn to stand up a little bit more through this artistic process of music. Yeah, and it's a creative outlet that I found. I do art, and so this music is a way to express myself, and it's a way for me to become more confident. And I really found a special love here in this music program and with these people and these educators. And I'd really love it to stay.
Wonderful, ladies. Thank you so much for sharing with us tonight and bringing your passion and spirit.
To thank all four of you for being so bold and eloquent in describing music, its importance to you. What I want to say to you is Wenatchee has a long and rare musical tradition, a very rich one, and everybody who's come before you would be extremely proud of all of you and the way that you keep the program growing, increasing in variety and diversity. So I want to thank you, and you could pass that thanks on to all your fellow musicians from us.
We want to start with the ASB update from Westside.
Leadership Club at Westside High School. And I'm here to tell you what's been happening since we were last here in November. Westside had some awesome December filled with lots of activities such as Spirit Week, the 10th annual Westside's Got Talent. I was in it. It was amazing. The whole music group thing. Oh man, I love those guys because that's also my passion. But anyways, yes, it was a huge hit as always. And our collection of items for us, our Salvation Army gift tags. We would also like to show a support and give a big thanks to Stuff a Sack Pack, who provided each of our students with something special for the holidays. Westside just welcomed our new community in school's full-time site director, Jessica Delio. I think I'm saying it right. I'm so sorry. Which we are super excited about partnering with. We had a very bittersweet send-off of our counselor, Jan Bullock, to retirement. It made me sad. I was crying. I wrote her a note, and she was really special to me. But our next Wellness Day is on February 4th. On this day, we will cover some of the topics the students wanted to discuss, such as community resources, drugs and alcohol, consent, first aid, and mindful living. Leadership is now working on our annual spaghetti feed and silent auction. And we are on the hunt for donators for the silent auction. Be on the lookout for the flyer soon that we have all the information. This year, again, we will be having a live student art auction. So make sure you keep an eye out for all the details. We do know it will be in May. Leadership is also starting to work on prom, which is, as always, is a fun night and will also be coming in May. Leadership also received its renewal with the Bomba Sock company for another 10,000 pairs to be delivered this coming fall. Pretty cool. Lastly, the Westside Leadership Club would like to thank the Wenatchee School Board personally, tell you we appreciate you, especially your dedication to the safety of our most valuable students. We thank you. This brings us to the end of our update. Do you have any questions for me?
Just awesome that everything that you're doing at Westside and your fellow students, and looks like the leadership group has a good president, and I guess you probably got some pretty good helpers.
Thank you. I love helping people, so. This is something that I thought it would be good at. Thank you.
Thanks, Christian.
Thanks, Christian. Well done.
Do we have anyone from the high school? From Wenatchee High? No. All right. Budget update?
Okay, I'd love to welcome up Executive Director of Business and Finance, Sean Fitzgerald, for a legislative session budget update.
Yes, it is. It usually is too. There we go. Thank you. Good evening, President Jackson, members of the board, and Superintendent Kalahar. It is great to be here tonight to give an update on the 2025-26 legislative update. So just as some background, our state legislature is required by the state constitution to convene the session during the second Monday of January. So they began January 13th. This is for the 25-27 biennium. Whereas the school district operates on an annual budget, our state government operates on a 2-year. The first year is the long session, so even years, I should say actually odd years are our long session. So they last 105 days. And that is where the biennial budget is created. And then the second year is a short session, which lasts 60 days. And that is to make adjustments to the budgets. There's also occasionally special sessions, which can last up to 30 days and must be renewed each 30 days. So although this long session begins January 13th and is scheduled to end on April 27th, it can be extended by special session if necessary. So for 2025, again, we're in the long session. And benefits of a long session is there's a focus on larger long-term funding decisions. The drawbacks is it's a long session. So for school planning purposes, unlike the short session, which can wrap up in mid-March, we are waiting until the legislature finishes at the end of April. And even till then, we're kind of waiting for more data or OSPI to kind of distill the data and kind of what it all means for school districts statewide. So we do get a lot of answers to our questions, but we do have to wait. So areas of focus, as you are aware, the state is in a budget shortfall and is projecting a $10 to $12 billion deficit over the next 4 years. And no doubt this will be the dominant discussion during this budget session. The next 3 bullet points have been identified from WASA, or the Washington Association of School Administrators, as kind of the big 3 focus for school districts statewide in terms of lobbying for additional funding. So none of these areas are new. They have been repeat topics year after year in the legislative session. First and foremost, special education. There's always been demand from the state to fully fund special education funding. As we know, there is a cap on funding we receive from the state, which is based on your special education enrollment divided by your overall district enrollment, and it comes out with, they cap that at 16%. So if your special ed enrollment exceeds that amount, school districts are then have to rely on their basic education funding. So currently, our school district is at 14.8% for the year, and the cap is at 16%. So as we continue to experience overall enrollment decline and have generally seen increasing special ed enrollment, although we can anticipate that gap will narrow. So anything that the state can do to raise that cap would greatly benefit the district and other districts statewide. Currently, there are 5 bills being discussed in the legislature discussing special education funding. Some of them, like Senate Bill 5263, is opting for kind of a single multiplier funding for special education. So right now there are 2 tiers of funding. So increasing about how much time a special education student spends in the general ed classroom. So if you're spending 80% or more of your time in the general ed classroom, a district will receive more funding as opposed to if they're spending less time in a general ed classroom. This bill wants to eliminate that factor and just focus on one multiplier. It wants to reduce the safety net threshold that we get from the state, and then also just remove the enrollment funding cap. We're also seeing that in a common theme in the other four bills, again, raising the funding on the multipliers and also eliminating or gradually increasing and eliminating that funding cap on special education. So we're going to pay close attention to those bills, and hopefully we can see that cap removed, because that, again, greatly benefit the district and other districts statewide. Another area of focus is transportation funding. So right now there are two bills, Senate Bill 5187 and House Bill 1579. They're pretty identical in what they're calling for, but they're opting for OSPI to conduct a study over the next couple of years for the 2026-27 school year and analyze the costs statewide for transportation, both funding and the cost side, and then provide a report to the state by June 1st of 2028 and propose a new funding model. So even though if this did pass and we could see an overhaul of our transportation funding model, we would not see it for another few years. And then material supplies and operating costs, or MSOC, and inflation. So there are a few bills, Senate Bill 5192 and House Bill 1338, calling for increase in MSOC funding. So the Senate Bill 5192 is calling for a 10% increase, whereas the House Bill is calling for a 20% increase. And both of them, in addition to that one-time funding increase, would be an annual adjustment to address inflation based on IPD. So that has not been done before. As we know, our salaries for certificated, classified, and admin staff are adjusted by IPD each year by the state. This is not done for MSOC. It's done on an ad hoc basis. So if we could see one or two, either of those bills pass to see an increase in MSOC funding and also tie it to adjustments to inflation, would be a nice increase in funding there. Another area we're looking at is our transition to kindergarten, or TK, funding. So House Bill 1450 is calling for guidelines and funding for TK. As we know, this school year, the state underfunded TK statewide by about 2,400 students. So that's kind of put a pause on statewide for school districts who wish to expand or look at options in expanding in this program. But again, funding program would be modeled as it currently is, just as our basic education model. It would be separate from basic education, but the modeling would be the same. So based on your annual average FTE. And then last but not least, another familiar topic is bonds. So there are two bills in the legislative session currently being discussed. Let's see here. That is Senate Joint Resolution 8000 and House Joint Resolution 4201. So the Senate resolution is calling for lowering the bond threshold to 55%, and the House resolution is calling for it to lower to 50%. So just a simple majority passing. Both of these resolutions, though, are proposed amendments to the Constitution. So even if they pass, then they would go to a vote of the people during the next, election season. That would go to the ballot and require a simple majority vote statewide in order for the Constitution to be amended.
Sean,
Go ahead.
So that would mean that we would, the soonest we would see a change if we were to run a bond would be after the November election of 2025.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So session summary, again, 105 days. Pace will be slow. Again, focus is generally more on budget actions and policy items. We see more of the policy focus in the short session. And one of the things to note during legislative sessions, even though they're long and there's lots of discussion, matters generally don't get finalized until the 11th hour. So when we're looking at, monitoring the House bills and the Senate bills, and it seems like they're trending one way or another at the beginning of the session, they could go a different way by the very end. So we pay close attention to that. We receive weekly legislative updates, so that allows us to keep monitoring the situation and following matters. And again, there are a lot of bills being discussed right now. And although I tend to focus on budget and funding, if there are any other bills or things that come to your attention that are beyond that, please let me know, and happy to follow up on them as well. All right, any questions? All right, thank you.
Sean, thanks so much for giving us that update and keeping track of the legislative session for us. We appreciate it. Next, our final special presentation for today is School Board Appreciation Month. So school board members, we definitely appreciate you, and I have some words that I'd like to share tonight. Just to take a moment to express my deepest appreciation for the dedicated service and volunteerism of the Wenatchee School Board of Directors. Your leadership and commitment to success of our schools and our students are nothing short of amazing. The countless hours that you devote, sometimes and often behind the scenes, ensure that our district continues to thrive. Your work on behalf of our students, schools, and community demonstrates a level of dedication that deserves celebration. We're doing that today. Your guidance in budgetary decisions has been invaluable, particularly in ensuring that our district continues to operate efficiently while maintaining our high standards of education. In addition, your thoughtful and forward-thinking approach to policy development has shaped an environment where students, staff, and families feel supported and empowered. Most importantly, your unwavering focus on improving the student experience from classroom learning to extracurricular opportunities has had a lasting impact on countless young lives. Wenatchee is a tight-knit community that values schools at the heart of our valley, and your leadership has strengthened those connections. On behalf of the entire district, thank you for being champions of public education and advocates for the future of our students. Your service truly makes a difference. I think that deserves a round of applause for all of you as well. So thank you. We have had a variety of schools that have offered some celebration, and we'll have an opportunity a little bit later for the board members and anyone who is still with us. We have some policy to go over, but I encourage you to stick around. If you're still with us, you're welcome to grab some crumble cookies in the back and some other snacks that we have, and do a gallery walk of some of the posters. We have Newberry. This is the first time I think they've taken up two walls, two sections. I think every student is, maybe not every student, but a lot of students are represented in some capacity here and behind us as well. So this is the heart of Newberry. And then you can see the bus over there from our transportation crew that are thanking you. We have Valley Academy here with the hands down the best school board. And thank you for putting your heart into Pioneer Middle School. And then your faces appear here on the next one, which is great, from Sunny Slope. So there's school board of superstars. Westside loves our Wenatchee School District School Board. And then an artistic rendering of your faces in character form, which I love, over here from, yes.
Take that home.
Yes, you can save those. Pictures are allowed. And that's from Lincoln Elementary. And Kim, who's this one here from? Oh, is it Lewis and Clark? Okay. Awesome. Lewis and Clark is, I hadn't seen that one. So that one. Oh, okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Appreciate that. And we also have certificates from WASDA here for you. And we have booklets for each of you that were created in Addie Govea's classroom at Mission View. So we'll give this to Martin. That's yours there. Thank you. Yeah, that one's yours. And then we'll save this one for Miranda. That one's yours there. Excellent. All right, well, thank you very much. As I mentioned, if you're willing to stick around as we talk about some policy, next, you're welcome to join us with some crumble cookie at the end. So anyway, thank you very much. We appreciate you, board. Right.
Is that me? Board discussion?
Yes.
All right, so we are going to kick off our discussion with board committee appointments. So according to board policy 1240, no more than 2 board members may serve on any one board appointed committee, and the board chair will appoint board members. Oh, that's me. All right, each roll. So I will turn over to Dr. Callahar to give everyone an overview of what the committee's roles and responsibilities are, and let us know who is serving in each capacity currently.
Perfect. Well, let's start off with the budget committee. The budget committee was created 2 years ago out of a desire for transparency on the budget reduction process from Superintendent Eagle. The committee meets with members of the cabinet regularly to receive an update on the budget overall. So past President Norton and Director Barron have served on this committee for the past year. Obviously, we would love to have both of them remain on the committee if they like. Martin has always been, it's a passion of his, and he's super good. He's a strong asset when it comes to large budgets and his experience. And it's been great working with past President Norton. But customarily, I think we do have a board president that serves on that. So Tucker, it might be your turn to take a loop on the budget committee. So another one we have policy committee. The policy committee focuses on district policies, obviously. Kim White helps co-facilitate this group as we negotiate through necessary updates and revisions from WASDA, as well as policy concerns that come up throughout the year. Director Iniguez and Director Sklisky are current members on the committee. We always welcome new members. We've enjoyed having both on the past year. We are in the middle of some of the work around a few different policies, one of those being a cell phone policy. And I know both Director Iniguez and Director Sklisky are passionate about the work. We also have a facilities committee, and this is the long range facilities committee that began last year and will continue until June of this year. We currently have representation of 2 board members on this committee, Director Sklisky and President Jackson. Again, this was created last year and is composed of community members, district stakeholders, and district staff. I would recommend maintaining Director Sklisky and President Jackson throughout the next 6 months, just based on the work that they've done already and the meetings that they've already attended and participated in. We also have legislative representation per board policy 1225. The WASDA legislative representative serves as a contact person and acts as the coordinator of the board's legislative activities. The legislative representative also serves as the board's liaison at WASDA's General Assembly. The legislative representative will be elected from among its members at the first regular meeting in even numbered years and will serve for a period of 2 years. So Director Sklisky is currently serving in her 2nd year of this position and will be up for election January 2026. And that's what I have for you, President Jackson.
All right, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh, sorry. Too long of legs. So let's talk about who wants to do what. I would happily take on the budget role. Julie or Martin, would you guys like to stay on to have some continuity? Or do you want to?
I mean, I would like to stay on for the continuity, but I feel like it's a good wheelhouse for Martin, and since we're mid through the year.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to stay on that committee too, but it's a group decision. Yeah.
I mean, would it make sense to have you guys? I recognize that in the past we've had the president move into that role. Is that a hard and fast, or is that just a?
I don't think it is, because I think you started it when Maria was president and she wasn't on it, because it was Laura and Martin who were on it. And then I moved into it last year with Martin. So I don't necessarily see a huge need or precedence for that, because I do think it makes more sense to keep you in the facilities committee.
Yeah.
And then I think part of the reason, really the only reason I feel like most of our committees are working just fine.
Yeah.
But Miranda's on 4. And so And so I think that's why it makes sense to maybe, if anyone, move her from one of those two, but I hate doing that if she's not here necessarily. That's what happens when you're there. I know, so,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the only.
No, you get more work when you're not here.
Oh.
You don't take work away.
True. I think the only pitch for myself would be, I'd like to stay doing the budget stuff, and I'd like to, if anyone wants to transition out of policy, be on the policy committee. Now that I'm not president and have more time to do something, I would like to share more in the responsibilities. It's the one committee I haven't done. And I feel like I know we're in midstream of things, but I feel like I seamlessly kind of jump into whatever's going on. It's my bread and butter on a daily basis. And no, I don't intend to usurp or have a agenda or anything. I have a good lens that I can say, hey, Corey, have we reached out to legal on this kind of thing or that? I don't overstep or think that I bring any special weight to that. So that would be my one. If I could choose for myself, I would like to do budget and policy, but I don't want to necessarily push anybody out.
Thanks.
I had some thinking about transitions. You talked that facility committee was for the next 6 months, good to keep it stable. And I think in the middle of a budget preparation session, maybe that would be true. But, after we've completed this budget, say August or so, that might be a good time to make a change. And, I'd be very willing to phase out at that point, yeah. But I think right now it's something that there is some knowledge.
I mean, can we do that? Can we wait until we're later in the year? Or is this like 1 year appointment and that's that?
We can ask the policy committee to check our procedures and, because I think it does make it, we used to appoint committee members at the very first meeting, and we changed to doing it later on because it was dysfunctional. We didn't yet know who people weren't familiar. So I think we've certainly been able to make small changes in timing, and I don't see why we shouldn't be able to do the other.
Yeah, and one thing I even look at is later down the road, if we get moving further on that, we talked about it yesterday at the workshop, the student advisory committee actually, or student advisory council actually kind of turning that into a committee position, maybe just one to help onboard whoever is, to sit in those meetings, but also help onboard the student advisory, or the students that would be advisories on the board, and which I actually think would be great for you, but we don't necessarily have that yet because you do regularly just attend those.
I was going to make the comment that would be exactly the same comment that you've just made. So I think that's a very good idea. I mean, in the meanwhile, I can continue liaising with that group. And, but when and if the policy committee reaches that point, then we could sit down. And I think that would be a good time to have a transition because the students don't know the rest of the board members.
I'll leave the budget up to you guys. I'm going to express my support for Martin's background and knowledge in numbers. I have never met anybody on this board that will sit and read that big packet of numbers that the district puts out. And I think that continuity of having Martin's knowledge and time and ability to read that packet.
So, I mean, it sounds like if you guys would like to, both interested in staying on the budget committee, I think that makes sense. And then we can talk maybe at the end of the summer about switching that up. Okay. Do we need to like lock them down and then go from there? Okay. So Maria, how do you feel about policy committee?
That's my baby. I've served quite a bit of time. Actually, I've served a significant amount of time on the policy committee. This is a passion of mine. Not that I want to, take that role or from anybody else, but I feel that it is important to have a different perspective on policy and forming policies, adjusting, editing, whatnot, to have just a different lens in regards to everything in general, but in particularly our students that we serve. I think it's important to have the representation for our student population. And so I feel like I bring that perspective and that different lens, those lived experiences with my background in education as well. I feel strongly about staying on the policy committee.
Great. Well, I would echo that Miranda has a lot going on. So I think we'd probably, I mean, I won't speak for her, but it seems like moving someone else into that as your partner on the policy committee makes sense. I would like, I know have some more flexibility during the day, so maybe I can help transition to the student or superintendent advisory committee as well. So Julia, if you are interested in policy committee, that might be transitioning Miranda off of that so you can, and then having you take over. Yeah. And then facility committee, I agree that we've done a lot of work and had a lot of insight already into that. And I think it makes sense to kind of stay the course with Miranda and I. And then ledge rep sounds like we don't even get a choice. All right, so it sounds like we have Martin and Julie staying on the budget committee, and then Maria staying on the policy, and then adding Julie instead of Miranda, and then Miranda and I staying on the facility committee, and then Miranda staying as our ledge rep. All right, so now we have the first read of 4 different policies. Do we have any discussion on policies 5400, 3210, 5010, and 5643?
I do have a question on 3010 and 5010 based on the WASDA legal letter today, which talked about Title IX and changes and said that these policies have been rewritten. But I just want to make sure I understand. I think it means that they will be rewritten again. Is that correct?
Yeah, last I read, and I didn't read the clippings today, but because of this all falls in the Title IX, which was recently or revisions were adopted August 1st. Now they're pushing them back to the previous versions, but the State Department of Education hasn't come down with the new updates.
So we're just gonna leave it as we'll see what changes. I mean,
I recommend that we stay as we are now until we hear otherwise.
Meaning that we don't move them from first to second reading, or you mean we move them to second reading, but
Correct.
expect to change them? Yeah,
Yeah.
the second is what I think makes most sense, because this seems to be in compliance with the state.
Currently, yes.
I just would interject, there was an update from WASDA that just came today or yesterday that did indicate they were directing districts to revert to their policies in place in 2020, and they've already updated their model policies accordingly. So I've got that on my to-do list right now. So that'll come to the next policy committee meeting.
Oh, so that, I misinterpreted that. So I thought that they said they would do that, not that they have. Is that right? So they have done it and you've got them. Okay.
Yes, correct.
Sorry, does that mean then that we shouldn't be looking at this one because it looks like it was last adopted in 11/23? So we should be staying with our 11/23 version then, and not this one?
They actually referenced 2020 is the version we should be reverting to. So knowing that's coming, whether we want to continue, with these changes, I guess that's up to the board.
That's an interesting place to be. As you find it, it's like, okay, so it seems like rework when we jump in there, but even the current policy that is on the books is not actually the accurate one that they want us to stick with. So maybe we look at 5400 and 5643 and we just stay on the other two.
Yeah, I agree, because it looks like the previous version, I'm looking at 5010, the previous version before the one in 23 was not till it was 2018. So I'm not sure even when we were in 2020, we had the most current. So let's table these two.
tabling 3210 and 5010, and then moving 5400 and 5643 to second read.
Correct. Yeah, the leave policy was pretty straightforward. And then the security cameras on school district properties, that's a new policy.
Okay, cool. Well, it sounds like we have a plan. All right, and then we have, for actions, we have policy, the second read on policy 4130, 3420, 3424, and 6600. Do I have a motion to approve the policy as presented for the second read?
I move that we approve the policies for, as presented for action.
Seconded.
I second that.
Okay, it has been moved by Maria and seconded by Martin. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of adopting the policies as presented, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving on, our next order of business is the superintendent report.
Excellent. So just want to state that I think as a board and as a district, we know that some students and families have had feelings of worry or being scared because of news around immigration and deportation. And I just want to share with our board, as you all know, and with the community that's present, that our schools are safe places for everyone. Our students have a right to attend school that is protected by law and by board policy. And we are committed to ensuring that our students and staff feel safe, welcome, and supported. Want to urge everyone to reference board policy 3226 and 4300 for additional information from the district perspective supporting students. Our board policy protects our students, and the caring, compassionate adults in our schools help shape that daily positive experience. With that said, we are 2 weeks away from our levy, and Diane and I have been busy with levy presentations and to bring understanding to the community and to the district, and most importantly, to really help our community and our staff have the information that they need about the levy so that they can make an informed decision. So today, let's start last week, we had maintenance and operations, and we had our custodians as we're finishing our presentations to our own district staff. Today, we were on KPQ for the last 20 minutes of the 1 o'clock hour. And we also met with our public schools employee representative groups, the PSE, secretaries, paraeducator, professionals, and technical employees. And that was right before the board meeting started. Tomorrow, we're at Confluence Rotary, so we hope to see Martin there. So that'll be great. And then Thursday night, we have Migrant Family Night at Wenatchee High School. So we're excited. Yeah, come join us on Migrant Family Night from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock at the high school, New Commons. Also, letting you know, our dual language team had a site visit last week. We went to Beacon Hill International School, which is an elementary school in Seattle, where they have a 50-50 dual language program in English and Spanish, and a 50-50 dual language program in English and Mandarin Chinese. So it was very, very interesting to see that program. We learned about the program. We met with the principal. We met with the head teacher. We visited classrooms. We had time for question and answer. And then later in the afternoon, we went to Denny International Middle School, where we were able to have time with the student panel. The students kind of shared their journey in dual language and what that meant to them. And then we spent time in 2 Spanish language social studies classrooms, which was really powerful to see. Middle school students learning and discussing their learning 100% in Spanish. So it was really cool. So this was a very positive experience for our dual language team. We learned a lot about the programs, many more tools, and ideas about supporting dual language at the middle school level. So it was great. So it was a good time for us. And that is it for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Corey. Martin, I'm gonna let you go first.
Actually, I have several things to do, piggybacking really on the agenda. The first thing was Board Appreciation Month, and Corey said it all, and I want to say that for my 4 colleagues, I was not willing to do, when I was your stage of life, what you do. You have family, young family, you have professional careers, you make the time to do this job. And so as the 5th board member, I want to express my recognition of that to you guys. And I guess the other one now, but the other thing is we have to deal with tough stuff. So we see how everything gets turned on its head and it's turbulent, and we have to wait on our affirmative, on our discrimination policies. Those are kind of things that we have to deal with everywhere. And I think that's pretty important. Youth Voice at yesterday's workshop, the Student Advisory Committee were great. And Janice Friends is coming up this week, and several of us, I think, are being cornered into being judges. And what I want to say is Wenatchee's youth shows that they care, they're generous, and they're charitable, and they are models of what is good about education. So I just wanted to say that. And then we have another model, the school resource officers in their video. And the way I think about it is that's a great example of how to combine being both constitutional and the law and being human and caring in one package and building a healthy society. And I think that's what we attempt to do with education. Budget committee met last week. And now we get into when I said things are not so easy. We've got to equip our students with the education they need for tomorrow's world. And I'm really optimistic that we'll be alert to find and grab all the positive opportunities that are out there. But at the same time, we've got to be prepared for whatever comes from the state budget shortfall. We get daily federal executive orders that are targeted at educational programs across this nation. We have declining enrollment. These are things that we need to work together. And I just want to say that because I think it's important. I attended the CORPAC meeting last week, and I will be going to the family night. And it's really important to support our families and make sure that they know all their rights and that they're aware of that. And then my final one, yes, we ask the community to give attention to the published information on what the levy provides. And then as the police SRO said, make your voice count and vote, as everybody said, actually. So that's a mixture of activities, but also communicating the environment in which we're working.
That's fine. Julie, want to go next?
I really don't have much. I just want to say thank you all for all the wonderful signs of appreciation on the board wall. I can't wait to walk around and look at them closer. It is an honor and a privilege to serve. Sometimes it's harder than others, but you do make us feel appreciated. And thank you to all the students that continue to show up to share their activities and what things outside the classroom mean to them and how important they are to them. And I hope that our community comes through for those students who have really expressed how much music, extracurriculars, the programs within the schools, athletics, how much it all means to them, and that you'll show up for the students, the teachers, and our staff. So that's all I got.
First off, I just want to thank the school district for taking the concerns and the fears and putting our students first and families in regards to the messaging for just the executive orders that are coming down. I think most of you guys know this is something that's close to my heart. And the reality is probably of a lot of our staff and parents as well. So thank you for sending out the parent message and just, reassuring our families that we're going to be okay. And, again, putting our students first. I will be at the talent show on Thursday, but I will stop by before the talent show for the migrant family night. Are any of you guys there on Thursday for the talent show? You got tomorrow? Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so I'll be judging that. And then I wanted to thank our staff members, students, parents, and staff, student, parents, and our board members that have been out there doing the work, supporting the work that's going out with the levy during their personal times. There's been some really chilly mornings, and it's nice to see, just people out there waving signs in the corner. And what's been so great about this levy is that we have been showcasing the work that our students have been doing. And it's great to see not just to get the support for the levy, but just there's so much that goes behind the scenes that we don't really see how our dollars are actually spent. And to see the presentations, the students speaking on their experiences in these programs has been really neat. So I hope, regardless of the levy, if we can continue those presentations into the future, the work that we do. And
think that's it for me.
Yeah, I will echo that the seeing the students bring their passion to the board, because it's really nice to actually see what kids are up to and how serious they're taking these things and often into the next stage of their life. So that's that. And thank you to everyone for the beautiful artwork. I'm really excited to get the close up of my drawn face. I will add, so in light of the recent executive orders that affect our immigrant and our LGBTQI plus communities, I'd like to share the information that the State School Directors Association sent out yesterday. This is the email that you were talking about, Kim, which was a state's legal framework remains valid unless explicitly preempted by federal law, which generally requires congressional action rather than an executive order. Courts have historically upheld states' rights to exceed federal standards in protecting marginalized groups. So therefore, this district is working to make sure that we are protecting our most vulnerable students, and the law is still on our side. So, I think that as we see a lot of chaos, we're doing our best to make sure that we're taking care of everyone. So if that's it, means adjourned.